All right, folks, brace yourselves because we have a stunning, game-changing breaking news bombshell in Donald Trump's ongoing Epstein scandal. According to the conservative Wall Street Journal, a sister publication of Fox News, I will remind you, the Justice Department told Donald Trump in May that he is named in the Epstein Files. I repeat, Trump's Justice Department told Trump that Trump is named in the Epstein Files. We have explicit confirmation. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we're going to dive into this article and then look at some other things to properly contextualize it. So again, this is from the conservative Wall Street Journal. Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein Files. All right. When Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a truckload of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times according to senior administration officials. In May, Bondi and her deputy informed the president at a meeting in the White House that his name was in the Epstein Files, the official said. Many other high-profile figures were also named, Trump was told. Being mentioned in the records isn't a sign of wrongdoing, and I want to be clear about that. There is, as of yet, no concrete allegations made against Donald Trump, and there may not be at all. He may be totally innocent of any sort of illegal or illicit activity as pertains to Jeffrey Epstein. But we now have explicit confirmation, as many have expected and suspected, that Trump is in the Epstein Files, and Trump has known about it since May. So keep the timeline in mind. The officials said it was at a routine briefing that covered a number of topics and that Trump's appearance in the documents wasn't the focus. And of course it wouldn't be. They told the president at the meeting that the files contained what officials felt was unverified hearsay about many people, including Trump, who had socialized with Epstein in the past, some officials said. One of the officials familiar with the documents said they contain hundreds of other names. So again, right here, this is really important. While it doesn't necessarily implicate Trump in terms of like evidence, concrete evidence that he engaged in any illicit or illegal activity, they say that there are claims about Trump, unverified hearsay about Trump. So again, just a stunning development here. Unverified hearsay that says what? Says what exactly? They also told Trump that senior Justice Department officials didn't plan to release any more documents related to the investigation of the convicted sex offender because the material contained, and again, I don't want to violate terms of service, but let's say inappropriate images and videos about children and victims' personal information, the official said. Trump said at the meeting he would defer to the Justice Department's decision to not release any further files. Donald Trump was told, you're in the Epstein Files, and the Justice Department said they don't want to release any more information about the Epstein Files, and Trump said, I will defer to you. The meeting set the stage for a high-profile review to come to an end. Bondi said in February, the Epstein client list was sitting on my desk right now to review. Trump said last week in response to a journalist's question that Bondi hadn't told him that his name was in the files. And again, this right here is stunning, folks. Donald Trump was caught in a lie, according to this bombshell report from the conservative Wall Street Journal. Trump claimed that Bondi nor anybody else told him that his name was in the files. And now we have concrete evidence to the contrary. Folks, I'm interrupting here because I found the clip in question in which Donald Trump was asked whether the Justice Department and Pam Bondi informed him that his name is in the Epstein Files, and he denied that. Here's the clip.
How many more states? The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on
that. On what?
On the DOJ and FBI
on what?
review.
On what subject?
Epstein,
okay.
On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's...
There you have it. No. He denied that the Justice Department and Pam Bondi told him that his name is in the Epstein Files, which is contradicted by this reporting. So it seems that Donald Trump has been caught in a lie. The administration didn't publicly announce the decision until weeks later on July 7th, when the Justice Department posted a memo on its website. The statement, which unsigned, stated that a thorough review had turned up no list of Epstein's clients, no evidence that would lead to an investigation of uncharged third parties, and no additional documents that merited public disclosure. It said that much of the material would have been sealed in a trial to protect victims and to block dissemination of, again, inappropriate videos and images pertaining to children. Typically, the FBI doesn't disclose materials that aren't related to a charged offense, which again is true, but it was Trump. It was Trump and MAGA that peddled the notion that Donald Trump would release the Epstein files. So if they had treated this like a routine investigation, then there would be no expectation or obligation for Trump to release this material, except Trump and his top aides campaigned on this shit. Quote, "This is another fake news story, just like the previous story by the Wall Street Journal," said White House Communications Director Stephen Chung. In a statement to the Journal on Friday, Bondi and the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, said nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution. Quote, "As part of our routine briefing, we made the president aware of the findings," they said, but note that they didn't contradict the central claim in this article, which is that according to Justice Department officials, the Justice Department informed Trump that Trump's name was in the files. On Tuesday, Blanche said on X the Justice Department was seeking to arrange a meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell in the coming days to discuss any possible information about anyone who has committed crimes with Epstein. Maxwell was found guilty in 2021 of helping Epstein sex trafficking and sentenced to 20 years in prison. She's been in custody since she was charged in 2020 and didn't testify at her trial. One of Maxwell's lawyers, David Oscar Marcus, confirmed the discussions and said, quote, "We are grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth in this case. Maxwell has been seeking to have her conviction overturned, contending she didn't receive a fair trial." Both Epstein and Trump said years ago that they had a falling out. Trump said that their friendship ended before the financier was indicted for soliciting prostitution in 2006. Epstein later pled guilty to procuring a minor for prostitution in 2008, served time in a Florida jail, and registered as a sex offender. When Epstein was arrested again in 2019, Trump said he hadn't talked to Epstein for about 15 years. Epstein died in jail later that year while awaiting trial on federal charges of sex trafficking. FBI Director Kash Patel has privately told other government officials that Trump's name appeared in the files, according to people close to the administration. So even Kash Patel is confirming it. Kash Patel is telling other people in private what the Wall Street Journal is reporting as well, which is, again, that the Justice Department told Trump, hey, Mr. President, your name is in the Epstein files. Patel declined to answer an inquiry from the Journal about the Epstein case, but said in a statement that the memo on the Justice Department website explaining why the department wouldn't release more Epstein documents was, quote, consistent with a thorough review conducted by the FBI and DOJ. And again, note they didn't say, no, this is bullshit, Trump's name is not mentioned in the Epstein files. Details of Bondi's meeting with Trump haven't been previously reported. Trump's advisors had for months, including during the presidential campaign, said they would release the files, and Trump, while at times equivocal, indicated he would support the release. Trump supporters, including some now serving in senior roles in the administration, claimed that the documents would expose global elites and powerful Democrats who spent time with the disgraced financier. The decision not to release the files has triggered the most serious backlash from Trump's political base since he launched his bid for the White House a decade ago, with a vocal group of Trump's allies seeing the move as a massive betrayal. Trump told the administration officials in recent weeks that he wanted the growing public attention on Epstein to go away. On Tuesday, Mike Johnson cut short the legislative session as some lawmakers demanded votes on more releases related to the Epstein files. And again, it goes into the grand jury. Last Thursday, the Wall Street Journal published an article about a letter bearing Trump's name that was included in a 2003 birthday album for Epstein, which was assembled before the financier was first charged. On Friday, Trump sued the Journal's reporters, Journal publisher Dow Jones, parent company News Corp, and executives, calling the letter, quote, non-existent and alleging the article defamed him. A spokeswoman for Dow Jones said, quote, "We have full confidence in the rigor and accuracy of our reporting and will vigorously defend against any lawsuit." And hopefully they will, instead of capitulating. And again, it relitigates what was in that article. We did a video about it. On Thursday, Trump said he had directed Bondi to, quote, "produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval." On Friday, Bondi and Blanche asked the federal court to do so, saying it was, quote, "a matter of public interest." But again, grand jury testimony only makes up a portion of the more than 300 gigabytes of Epstein-related material the Epstein compiled as part of a recent review. Among other material, the FBI confiscated digital and documentary evidence from Epstein's properties in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New York when he was arrested. And I will also note that apparently while this article was being written, the judge in Florida denied the Trump administration's half-assed attempt to ask for the unsealing of the grand jury testimony. So there's a good reason to believe that this was just, again, a virtue signal. Just even if the grand jury testimony was released, it is, in terms of substance and volume, a fraction of a rounding error of the actual Epstein files, number one. And number two, it doesn't seem like the Trump administration really intends to get this shit unsealed. So, and again, it goes back into the reports of a Bongino clash, which, again, we discussed in a previous video. But the other thing I want to point out is that while the article says, well, hey, listen, the reason that the Trump administration or the Justice Department specifically didn't want to release the Epstein files is because of all the wildly inappropriate and disturbing images and pictures in them. I want you to note two things. We learned about a week ago, 5 or 6 days ago, that according to Democratic Senator Dick Durbin, that the FBI was ordered to flag any mention of Trump's names in the Epstein files during their thorough review. So they were told to be on the lookout for anything related to Donald Trump in the files. That's suspicious, right? That could have informed the Justice Department's decision, either in whole or in part, to not release the files because they thought it could be damaging to Trump, given that they were actively seeking Trump's name in the review. Something to think about. And number two, the other thing is you can just redact all that stuff. Of course, no one is asking you to release that sort of disgusting imagery and footage, but you can redact it. You can take it out and release what you can. And they're choosing not to do that, even though it's within Trump's power to demand. So there you have it, folks. This is stunning. This is stunning. Donald Trump, according to the conservative Wall Street Journal, one of the most reputable in the business, a sister publication of Fox News, they are reporting that the Justice Department told Trump in May that Trump's name is among the Epstein files. It is in the Epstein files. We have confirmation, and I imagine this is only going to make things so much worse for Trump. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.